With Ed Balla. I'm board member Ed Balla, and I'm on the board with him, and he's having a lot of health challenges too. He's fallen a few times. He's got problems with his legs, type 2 diabetes,
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, this is Chris from the local scene. Here, we're testing Zoom's audio in the room, hoping that there isn't any feedback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Skiing in the past week.
Oh, good for you. Where'd you go?
Went to Breckenridge, Beaver Creek, and Vale.
Testing, 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 testing. I can't hear anything really. I'm going deaf.
Great. Okay, I'm still looking at them, but it works.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you? Everything still good with my end?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're good?
All righty.
We're all eager for that thumbs up. Okay, yep,
Okay.
good.
All right. I'm going to call the meeting of the Kingston Planning Board to order for Monday, February 24th, 2025 at 7:17 PM. Okay. I think we're just going to go right to the public hearing, right? Okay, so we have a public hearing.
Want to do roll call?
Oh, we're going to do roll call. Yep, so let's do a roll call.
Alexander Graham here.
Dave Gavigan.
Bob Goslin?
Jonathan Barnett.
We have Dave Gleason.
Recording
on,
in progress.
The Zoom call. Dave?
He's here by name.
Dave? Still muted.
Dave, can you unmute if you're currently on roll call?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
The reverb is terrible.
Okay. We're gonna,
Oh.
we have to read the public notice.
The Kingston Planning Board will hold a public hearing February 24th, 2025 at 7:01 PM at the Kingston Townhouse, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, Massachusetts, in room 200 on the application of Briarwood Construction Corp. For approval of a modification of the approved subdivision known as Greystone Village and as shown on Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, Plan Book 65, page 1079. Modification shown on a plan entitled RDEOS Subdivision Modification dated December 31st, 2024, and prepared by PMP Consulting Incorporated of East Bridgewater, Massachusetts, on land owned by the applicant. The changes are limited to a new adding one additional lot. The property is located off Wapping Road in Kingston, Massachusetts, formerly number 178 Wapping Road, and shown on the designated Kingston Assessor's Map 51, Lot 53-1 to 53-24. A copy of the application and plans are available for inspection at the Town Clerk's Office, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, during regular hours. The petitioner or his or her representative and any person interested or wishing to comment on the proposal should appear at the time and place designated.
Hang on.
Hey, Jen, I just joined Zoom and I'm hearing everything.
We're getting some strange feedback on the machine, but I'm going to go ahead. My name's Valerie Massard. I'm the town planner. And I want to ask the local scene if they can zoom in on the plan, but I think they're having technical difficulties with the reverb. So this is an existing subdivision that's under construction. The road's already been put in, and it's to binder. We've had no issues at all with the construction to date. Some of the houses are constructed, some of the lots are released, and what we've come to figure out is that there's a need for one more lot in terms of mathematically the subdivision is required, as all subdivisions and developments are, to 10% affordable. And mathematically, the developer figured out that they thought there was no rounding up, so they had 2.4 or 2 affordable lots and realized that they need 3 because we do round up. There's just a lack of communication back and forth and a change in building commissioners and so forth that led us to here. And there are no frontage requirements in the RDOES zoning, which allows for some flexibility. So where we have 4 unconstructed lots, 1, 2, 3, 4, on this portion of the cul-de-sac, and these are outlined in green, what we're proposing is a 5th lot. So instead of 4, you would see 5 lots on the north side of Charles Drive, or the northeasterly side of Charles Drive, where there are no homes constructed at this time. And that one lot, because it's a new lot, would be subject to the water moratorium and wouldn't be able to connect to the public water system, it appears, until the water is available. But the other 4 lots can. Are there any questions? The developer's here
So,
from Briarwood Construction.
so what would that other house do for water?
It could drill a well, or it could wait until the new well goes online.
Which will be when, do we know?
They're going to announce that timeline to the selectmen, I think, next week, but we don't have a specific date.
Could be a while. Okay.
It could be.
If you, sorry, if you want to speak,
Yeah,
you just
go
have to
ahead.
go up to the mic and introduce yourself. If you give your name and address, and then we'll hear any comments.
Hi, Mike Ferroni from Briarwood Construction. I think we would just, the most important part of this whole issue is that we didn't lose a lot by the miscommunication. So leaving it empty until the water moratorium is lifted would be fine with us. I don't think we would drill a well. I think we would just leave it empty.
Okay. Anybody want to speak to this from the board?
I have a question. Why is it necessary to add another lot, just because you have to add an affordable?
I think what had happened was I bought this approved from a group of attorneys. They represented it to me as 22 market and 2 affordable. And through my communications with the town, I thought that's how it was, and reading through it wasn't very clear, I guess. So I'm asking for some relief.
There was a
guess.
general understanding that it was 2 when he purchased it, and that was,
Not from us.
yeah, not from us, but there was also an expectation that there wasn't a rounding up, but there was a miscommunication between building and planning on that. So it's come to here where it got called out in the paperwork that goes up to the state for approval. And they said, hey, you do round up. We're looking at this, and we have a new building commissioner, so we went and confirmed that it should be 3. And we talked with Tom Bouchard about the situation and Paul Armstrong to see if there was flexibility. And it does allow for flexibility in the bylaw because of the frontage requirement being reduced in the RD. Oh yes, there isn't a minimum dimension for frontage once you're inside. So this was the alternative that was suggested to try to rectify the miscommunications that there were.
So there's no frontage requirement, but what about area?
There's no standards in the, it's got the area for the entire development. It's got continued frontage for the entire development, minimum setbacks for the yard setback on the outside of the development, maximum impervious surface ratio, 25%. Minimum open space is the same, 25%. Minimum usable open space per dwelling or equivalent. In this case, they have all the open space set aside in the 2 areas, and it's 5,000 square feet per unit. And then you have maximum height of dwellings and maximum height of dwellings, both feet and stories. But there isn't any minimum lot area, and there isn't any minimum lot frontage.
So you said that there was miscommunication on the part of the building department about this?
I was told that we don't round up when I spoke with the previous building commissioner. However, after that building commissioner left and we examined the language in the zoning bylaw carefully with the state, we determined that we do, in fact, round up.
I've always been under that assumption, that we round up.
We round up when we're doing this math We don't round up when we're doing the number of units per year. And that's where the confusion came up.
I'm just looking at these two really narrow lots in the 60s for the width, and with the restrictions on the height, specific height, Val, what are we really proposing that we're gonna build there?
Well, you get 2.5 stories or 35 feet.
Yeah.
And the minimum side yard setbacks in this development are 15 feet.
15, yep.
And you have a minimum of 25 feet, which they're holding back further because they're putting the septic systems in the front yards to make it easy to maintain and easy to install.
Okay.
So you end up with what, about 30-something feet?
Yeah, you'll get the width on that. I was looking at the one that's 62 feet wide, and the other one that's 66, but it goes narrow in the front. But Val's saying that they can put the septics in the front,
Yeah.
so.
We actually have been, the building inspector, actually, we actually are holding 12.5 feet sidelines.
Oh, that's right.
As opposed to 15.
We had started at 15, we went to 12.5.
There was no sideline setbacks in the.
There's no side
That's for
setbacks
these lots,
in the zoning for an
In the zoning.
RDEOS.
for the rodeo, okay,
So in this case, we set it at 12.5 feet.
gotcha.
And we put that in writing so that there wouldn't be any confusion down the
Which would
road.
make more sense for house, driveway, all that.
Once you get the house driveway, and in one instance, we had a fireplace that was requested.
Yeah.
And that created going from 15 to 12.5, but at that point, only 2 or 3 houses had been constructed.
Got
So it
it,
was easy to set that in stone at that time, so there wouldn't be any further.
got it.
We want to have at least, that space in between the houses so that people can get around, do their firefighting or that sort of thing.
Sure.
My only thought is, was there ever talk about possibly converting one of the market to affordable?
I'm sorry?
There was never talk about converting one of the other lots to affordable in the plan? Because that would be the alternative, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Does anybody from the public want to speak to this?
I have a couple questions, but it's mostly because you can't see them now
Yep.
accurately.
Oh, who does?
Pine DuBois, she's on Zoom, she doesn't know where, she's looking at the open space.
So she's looking at the open space. The open space is already under a CR, and it's all the way behind and around. The open space doesn't show on this plan because we're only showing the road and the frontage along the road. The open space is all to the bottom, and it extends quite a distance on either side.
It's
This
all
has all
Clinton, isn't it?
this is all permitted pine. The proposed
She's just-
additional lot is in area where lots were already proposed.
Okay.
And then other people, if you have comments, if you could direct them to the board, and please come up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Melanie Callanan, 18 Charles Drive. My question is mainly for Briarwood. So with the lots being so much smaller, all of our houses are kind of, we have, I guess, like a set type of house that's being built there. So is that going to change? And are these lots going to be the 40B? Because originally I think we were told, after we weren't told that this wasn't going to be a 40B lot, that 1 and 9 were. Is that still the case, or are the 40B going to be the smaller lots?
You need to
But
take the.
you need to
yeah.
come up to the microphone.
It's actually not a 40B, these are just affordable homes. We have designated Lot 1, but if this goes through, Lot 53-7 and 53-9 as the affordables, and they will be the same style. It will all match with the neighborhood. The three houses that we have proposed for those lots are the same as Lot 3 and the house that is on Lot 17 or 16. So they will all match, and the other houses will be the same as the other models in the neighborhood. So it will all match.
The way the law works, the houses have to look the same from the exterior. It's the finishes that are different on the inside.
Right, just the smaller lots ended up there.
Yeah, I mean, they really, I'm not sure if you would really notice them being that much smaller. I mean, I know
We
they're
need you to be
smaller
closer to the
on the
microphone.
plan, but they really, I think it's gonna go, they're all gonna look uniform.
Anybody else have any comments? Anybody else want to come up to the microphone?
Good evening. Dan Fuller from 10 Charles Drive. So this is what we have with Briarwood, okay, is, again, we were told there was going to be no affordable housing in our neighborhood, okay, when we bought these properties. That's why we're all sitting here, okay? We spent a lot of money on these houses, and now we're going to put another affordable house in a shrink lot size, and that is going to affect our property value. Whether you're going to say it does or it doesn't, it's going to. So if they want to make another house that's already existing, a 40B, that's fine. I don't think we need to add another lot, shrink lot size, to add another, you can call it whatever you want, 40B or affordable housing. So this is the issue that we have. Okay, there's been issues with Briarwood since day one, and it's no knock on them. Anytime we call, they finally fix things. But this is not going to be a smooth process, and that's just, I'm speaking on behalf of probably most of our neighborhood.
Okay. All right.
My other thought is if, because of the water moratorium, the affordable unit won't be built for an unknown period of time. That's what you were saying, is you would leave it unbuilt?
It wouldn't necessarily be the.
It wouldn't
affordable
necessarily
unit.
be the affordable unit.
No, it would not be affordable.
Yeah.
We will do the three affordable units.
So for the microphone, for the sake of the audience, that we're confirming that it would be a market rate unit that would be held back in this case if the fifth is approved.
Okay. And our bylaw requires an affordable for every 10 houses built, and it has been that way for quite a long time. So every neighborhood in Kingston that's been built in the last, 20 or 30 years falls under this bylaw, whether it's Indian Pond Estates, whether it's Tall Timbers, every neighborhood has this in it. So your neighborhood is no exception. And when it's an affordable house is 80% of market value. So your market value houses in there are running at about $900,000, somewhere around there. So it's 80% of that. It's not cheap. And the people who will buy that house will probably struggle to qualify, because you have to have a certain income level, right?
Yeah, they go through a vetting process before they're allowed to get into the lottery, and the vetting process is pretty intense.
So, and he's required now to build 3, so, I'm concerned about the lot size a little bit, even though there's no requirement on lot size. They are small.
We could ask the assessors and continue this to get feedback from the assessors whether it would affect the way they assess the property values, if that's the concern. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that either. What do you think?
I like it the way it is. I don't think we should be adding another lot. It's my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't really like the idea of adding another lot myself. I think, you know, it was approved the way it is. I understand you're trying to get relief on that. I can respect that, but I also can respect what was approved. And, you know, adding another house, you know, we got more drainage, we got more septic. That's just kind of how I feel. I would like it to just stay the way it is.
yeah,
That's just my opinion.
yeah.
But I'm open, I'm also open to your suggestion, Val, as far as the, you know, the value of assessors and taking a look at it to, you know, maybe continuing and seeing. I don't think that would change my opinion, but I'm definitely open to that.
I don't personally think you're gonna get an answer out of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say that it looks like at least 2 members and possibly 3, me, would probably be voting no on this, so, I don't know what,
Well, so you would vote yes or no. Somebody could make a motion to either, you know, normally you make a motion in favor of the request, and then you vote. And if you're voting against, you say no.
yep. And this is to modify the
So this is a,
definitive subdivision plan?
yeah, the motion would be along the lines of, I move that the planning board approve the modification requested of the approved subdivision known as Greystone Village in order to add 1 additional lot. So if somebody wanted to make that motion,
Can make that motion, so moved.
Jonathan makes that motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second?
The modification.
Yep.
Second, yeah.
And they're saying yes to that?
No, we're making a motion. And now you vote.
Okay.
And you always make the motion in favor of the request. And then you vote no, so that's clear that you're voting against it.
Yeah.
If you're against it, you vote yes if you're for it. So now we call for a vote.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any further discussion?
You have someone else in the audience. You have to close the hearing
Yeah. Yeah.
before you make the vote,
Okay.
but that's how it would
We'll
go.
we'll let this guy speak right here.
I'm Sean Osborne, 27 Charles Drive. Like other people said, when we first met with Mike and Greg about this development, all of us had asked if there were any affordable or 40B houses, you know, and we were told no, which is part of the reason we decided to move into the development. Granted, you know, there may be a town bylaw, but I think that's their job as the builder of the property to inform that to us, you know, accurately. I mean, I think shrinking lot sizes to add an additional lot to comply with something that was overlooked shouldn't be our problem to just, you know, stack houses in there. You know, if a market property needs to be turned over to be affordable housing, that should be on them, not us. And, you know, I want to know is, you know, somebody that lives there, is there anything that we can do? I know you guys are going to go to a motion, but none of you guys live there. We're the ones that live there and have to deal with whatever outcome you guys vote for.
So if the vote of the planning board is something that you oppose, what you'll get in the mail is a notice telling you how the planning board voted and how to appeal it. And you have 20 days from the date that that is stamped with the town clerk. And we try to mail the notice the same day as the decision is stamped with the town clerk to file an appeal with a land court or the Superior Court.
And the other question I have, when you guys talk about open spaces, you guys are talking about the property that's over this side of the development that has not, that doesn't touch any of this affordable housing that's over here.
That's correct.
So, I mean, how does that comply with the town bylaws? Is it the open property?
All of you have access to use it, the open space.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Do we need a motion to
well,
close the
first,
hearing?
yeah, you
or-
want to see if there's any more comment?
So any more comments? Anybody else have anything else to say? Okay.
Melanie again, 18 Charles Drive. So we were told that like the open space along these lots was all conservation for turtles.
It is.
It is.
But you said we could use it.
You can walk around on it.
Oh, I think we all assumed it was like, you know.
It's conservation land, but it's passive.
Gotcha.
You can't use it for like a baseball field or ATVs or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you can amble around on it.
Oh.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but you can.
No, I thought we weren't supposed to touch turtles.
No, you can't.
You're not.
Still don't touch any turtles, but you can walk over there.
Just step over them.
Okay, we have a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we have a motion to,
Motion to
motion to approve.
adding one additional lot.
We had a motion by Alex, right?
So Jonathan made the motion and
Jonathan,
Alex seconded.
Alex seconded. And do we have any further discussion?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Okay.
Sorry.
0-4. Vote on that, sorry. Motion is not approved. Okay. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Now, where do you want to go next? Review accessory dwelling unit bylaw?
Yeah, so that, okay, so there's three things I want to go over. We got notice this afternoon that we are compliant with the MBTA zoning, as the state has made a determination, so that's really good news for the town. So that means thank you, that means we're eligible for all the grants and things that we're hoping for.
Now, Val, before we move on from that, I just want, the court decided something in the Milton case, right? That,
They decided to uphold the state law, but
Yeah.
not the regulations, and then the regulations were published just the way they already were as emergency regulations and changed
Yeah.
nothing.
so if I know they told them to go back and rework something. If it gets reworked, is that going to apply to our bylaw too?
Well, they reworked them to say exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they sort of just adjusted their timeline.
Okay.
Like, they have more time to comply.
Yeah,
some of the
but
time.
those have already been published. They were published
Okay.
within 2 weeks of the decision.
Oh, okay.
And they're taking public comment right now, but I don't expect any changes.
See, I thought maybe that they were going to possibly reduce the number of required units, but that's not the case.
No.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, I must have misconstrued that. Okay.
I just want to remind the board that we have a public hearing at the next meeting on the accessory dwelling unit changes. Basically, and just briefly say that we're still going back and forth a little bit with council, but we've narrowed it down. We're just going to add the idea that there's a protected ADU, which is what the state is enabling, at 900 square feet or half the size of the principal dwelling, whichever is smaller, as the minimum size. And with all of that, they finalized the regulations, I think it was about 10 days ago. And we advertised well in advance of the law going into effect so that we could enact setbacks and also say that we don't want these to be short-term rentals. So we're just going through the fine paper lines, going back and forth with town council on how that will read. But the intent is to say, here's a protected or state-enabled ADU, and here's what our existing bylaw says, where you need a special permit. So if it's bigger than 900 square feet, or if it's a second affordable unit, ADU, or if it's on a different type of zoning besides just single-family zoning, then you still have to come in and get a special permit from this board, unless it's a state-enabled ADU. And then that's really all we're doing is saying that the setbacks and the no short-term rentals, because we can do that, so we want to. Other than that, there's no essential changes, but it's just complicated getting the wording right. So we'll have the public hearing on that next meeting.
So if somebody wants to come in and put a second detached ADU, that requires a special permit, correct?
Yes,
And that does not, and amongst other things, because they can't meet the 50% of the dwelling part, because they already have the first one that met that.
yeah. And so our zoning bylaw requires a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet. So there's different things that are going to kick in different types of districts. So I gave each of you this handout too that tries to simplify it a little bit. Any ADU in town cannot be a short-term rental. ADUs are subject to the height and setback requirements of the zoning bylaw. An ADU can be attached or detached, and there's a minimum size that has to be in effect for any ADU under minimum habitable standards for human habitation. But we have a minimum of 350 square feet in our zoning bylaw anyhow. The state doesn't have a minimum, so we're just,
They say there's a minimum, but they don't have the
they don't
minimum.
have one. So we know that the minimum standards for fitness for human habitation apply. And you're still at around 350 square feet at a minimum anyway. And then if you're doing a special permit, you're going to have a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet. You're going to be in an R20, R40, R80, or 3A design district. And then if you have a primary use being a residential dwelling on town center or commercial districts, you can also apply if it's already been there as of May 11th, 2024. Because we don't want to convert businesses over to residential in order to enable this. And for the special permit, it has to be one or the other, either the house or the dwelling. The ADU or the primary dwelling has to be owner occupied. But we can't require that under the state requirements. So it's a little bit, there's a little bit here and there that we have to try to highlight for people.
Could you say that again, Val? So under the state requirements,
It doesn't have to be owner occupied.
and that's going to apply to us unless,
If it's a state enabled, it can't be required to have an owner occupancy.
Okay.
If it's a special permit, which will come to us if it is, otherwise it just goes through the building department. If it's a special permit, we can still impose that it has to be, one of them is owner occupied.
But we don't have to.
We have to, it's in our zoning.
But we can waive it, right?
You could change the law if you wanted to. The zoning bylaw already says that
It has to be.
one of them has to be. We prefer that it is, so that you have
I prefer that it is.
you have somebody
talked
there
about
who's watching
Yeah.
over the property.
just so what happens if, like, the guy decides, the person that owns one of these, and they decide to just rent both of them and walk away, when, act as a landlord, and when a neighbor finally complains, then it comes to, like, the building inspector?
This is all enabled through the building inspector
Yeah.
and
Enforced
it's
through the
enforced by the building
What do they do
inspector.
about it? That's my question, like, how do they enforce
If
it?
there's absentee landlords,
Yeah,
there's nothing that we can do other than deal with the absentee landlord, just like we would any other situation where there's an absentee landlord.
yeah, but then getting that landlord to come in and occupy one of the units.
What
or
we're
vacate
concerned-
one of the units, or,
Well,
I'm not sure how it works.
it's not our situation to
I know.
handle. The building commissioner handles it. So they have different regulations and laws that apply to what the building commissioner can and can't do.
Yeah.
But that's true in any case when you have an absentee landlord. There are situations where there are absentee landlords. This is just another one that can come up, and it's less desirable to have that.
Yeah.
So if we approve a special permit and we require it to be owner occupied, one of the units, then we would probably want to see them put a deed restriction on, so it's on the deed.
Well, it's recorded with the special permit, and it rides with the property, it never goes away.
And it spells it out,
Yep.
so.
So a regular, if someone comes in front of us with a regular ADU, they don't have to live there.
You won't ever see a regular ADU
Oh,
because they only go through the building
they only go
department.
through the building permit, okay, got it. I thought they were still gonna come in front of us. with
No.
something.
In a new construction, if, for 900 square feet means that the main house has to be at least 1,800 square feet.
Ish. It has to go with habitable area, so you can't count the garage, for example.
I understand that, but, and it's from the outside walls,
I believe it is from the outside walls.
correct? Because I know Jason was messing with the,
I know. But the building commissioners across the state have been talking, and I think they're all like trying to lean in one direction, but they haven't decided yet.
well, it should be from the outside walls.
It should be from the outside walls.
Yeah.
It always has been, so why?
Just a clear description.
Right.
Okay. So that's that. So I don't have anything more to share with you on that, but that's coming up. We also have a housekeeping zoning bylaw that we're going to do. There was an error in the zoning bylaw when it was made into the recodification, where service uses are a little bit confused. And we're trying to decide whether we want to define service uses or just fix the typo in the zoning bylaw. But in the use table, things like barber shops and stuff that are of a certain size got deleted from general commercial, which is silly, and we want to fix that. So we're going to come to you with something on the 23rd of March, the second meeting in March, with a public hearing for that. You're also going to see a change proposed for the mall use, or excuse me, mall mixed-use redevelopment overlay district. We're looking at the possibility of adding a fuel use, not over the wetlands protection, water protection overlay district. There's land area at the end of the mall that could be used for like a gas station that's not in the well areas. The water pumps from the opposite direction towards the wells. This is on the other side of the wells and doesn't pump into the wells. So we're looking at a modification to the shape of the mixed-use overlay district. We're looking at a modification to allow the planning board, through a special permit, to look at a fuel station, as long as it's not over the water protection overlay district. And you'll see me advertising those two articles. They'll show up in the paper next week, and we'll have that hearing the second part of March, second meeting in March. So those are the two other articles that are coming from planning. With respect to, there's an open house. I've mentioned in the past that we have been looking at redesigning the Tarkland intersection. I think I mentioned it at the last planning board meeting, because it's kind of a messy intersection where Tarkland, CVS, Summer Street, and Big Y intersect. We've come up with some ideas that we think are pretty cool. We've met with 3 or 4 major business owners that are right there, the plaza owners, the McDonald's, the CVS, the Big Y plaza owners, and the gas station, and talked to them about it already, and now we want to do some public outreach to make sure that everybody understands what we're thinking about. We've also applied to, or shown an expression of interest to the state in terms of applying for a MassWorks infrastructure grant to pay for the design. So we're going to apply for that sometime in May or June. And this informational meeting will be next Monday night from 7 to 9 p.m. in room 101, the Kingston Townhouse. And we invite people to come. There's going to be a PowerPoint and informational boards, and the engineers will be there to answer questions if people have them. And we hope that there will be public interest and people would come. You know, we want to make this a safer, greener intersection than what it is today. And with that, I don't think I have anything more I can report.
Hey, Val, I know you had been working, trying to get contact Lowe's, the whole sign thing. Did anything ever come of that?
Yeah, I met with Lowe's people locally repeatedly. I met
Yeah.
with Amazon people locally repeatedly, and we can't get anywhere. I've spent my Saturday mornings hanging out to try to, I'm serious, to try to get people. I'm going to start reaching out to the people who originally permitted those buildings to see if there's any possible, because we do have interest from the plumbing company. We think that we would probably get the daycare interested, and we know that we have interest from the elevated routes. So it's really just trying to get the big retail warehouses to talk to us, and it's extremely difficult to locate someone who will, I've given them my phone number, my business card. I've walked into the property unannounced and unwelcome to say, I'm trying to get in touch with the people that manage this warehouse to see if we can get you on this sign.
So by right, we could take the sign down, because it's on our property, right?
I suppose we could. We've tried to notify Lowe's through the agreement that we have on file.
Yeah.
They've moved the office. It came back to us undelivered, and we've tried calling. We can't get through to anyone. When you call the customer service, they refer you to the clients of the company that are market shareholders. And when you try to call that number, they can put you back to customer service. There aren't any other phone numbers.
Yeah.
So you
we're-
said have you tried mailing any?
Oh, yeah, and that came back,
And that keeps coming back.
undelivered. So at this point, I'm gonna try one more effort, but, we really like the idea of taking that sign down and putting up a better sign.
Yeah.
They made a lump sum payment for a 30-year lease when they opened the building, and that 30 years has gone by and they haven't re-upped the lease. So we have this situation where we need to resolve it, but the contact information we have is no longer valid.
Lowe's has been there for 30 years?
Yes.
Really? Holy moly, wow.
I think you've done a lot of due diligence trying to get a hold of them, and if we need to continue to create, a benefit for the smaller businesses around the area to put up signages, then I think we should do what we have to do.
Yeah.
So what about, like, town council? Do they have any way to, usually,
They've told me that what I need to do in order to,
so they won't send a letter? Usually when a letter comes
they
from a
asked me to
lawyer-
write the letter, which we did, and which got sent back.
Yeah. Usually it comes from a lawyer, it usually carries a lot more weight, they.
You would expect that it might, but if you can't deliver it,
Yeah,
it
true.
doesn't matter.
Town council has been useless in this town.
Yeah, okay.
I can't disagree.
Send a letter.
Okay.
So so maybe you did it once, but I was gonna say if you have to do it again, and if it comes back again, then we'll use that as enough correspondence that we're gonna take the sign down, and we're gonna put a new sign with the people that wanna
The
cooperate.
public announcement?
Well,
Like you would
I want to
before.
try and call the people who were going to expand the building 2 summers, 3 summers, 4 summers ago, and they never acted on it, and call the people that permitted the Amazon, who might still be around or may not still be around, but they're going to be like the real estate people.
I tried to contact them to give them money back from the 53G, like the
The mo-
accounts.
yeah, the-
Yeah, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody even then. If you can't get a hold of somebody to give money back, then
Yeah, so we're still
Well-
trying. We also, try to get a sign quote from, is it Pazan? Forget the name, Piant Signs. They keep blowing us off to give us the number. So we're having a lot of difficulty. We've been working on it very hard, I would say, off and on for at least a year, and not getting anywhere.
No, thanks.
But we'll keep trying.
It's appreciated. I'm glad you guys are working on
Yeah,
it.
definitely, Val. Your Saturdays, gosh, appreciate you, big time.
Well, Maya kept me company, so that was all right.
Yeah.
So that's it, we just have the minutes here, and, I don't have anything else to.
Hey, Val, did anybody go to the open house at the Kingston Collection?
They had 50 people, give or take, that were
Yeah.
there, and David Gleason went, and
Okay.
the report back was that it was well-attended. They had, lots of sticky notes and lots of ideas that were shared with them.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was less a presentation, more just to get
people's ideas, so they created a website or an email address that people can email in their ideas as well.
Are they going to have another one?
They
said
plan
would,
on
yeah.
it.
Not
There's
obviously.
nothing on the books yet.
Yeah, like a year or however long. Because I tried to go, but I couldn't make it back in time
Yeah.
from Boston. So it would be nice if they extend it an hour from the original planned meeting time.
Okay, I'll let them know.
Now, with Macy's moving out, Macy's still owns the building, right?
No, Macy's sold to them, to the current owners of the mall several months ago.
Oh, they did, okay. So they could take the building down, we don't know.
We
what
don't
they're gonna
know.
do. Yeah,
But we'll in the coming 2 or 3 months.
okay. All right, I think that's all I have. We'll move on to the minutes. Okay, so we have, what, 2 sets of minutes?
Yes.
The only ones that were here were you and John.
Okay. For December 9th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 9th, 2024 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes of December 9th. Do we have a second? So, hold on.
If we're not,
Oh, there's
On
no-
that, right?
Can we do it?
if we're not,
Can I second a
Okay, no,
motion if I
can't do
wasn't
this,
here?
okay.
Yes, you
All right,
can.
we
I
can't
can
do
second
this.
that.
We
I
can't-
can second, I just can't vote.
Okay, okay.
So I
So
second
only-
the motion.
Only me and
John,
John can vote on this, so all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. 202?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And now we have
I'll make a
the
motion
minutes of
to,
January 13th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of January 13th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. I was not at this meeting, so I cannot vote. All those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
And then I'm not voting, so that's a 301 to approve those minutes. Okay. Do we have anything else, Val, to cover?
Not that I know of, but we definitely want you to plan on being here for the, and David too, for the March 10th and then the 24th for
Okay.
the zoning hearings.
I'll be here as long as there's no early newcomers to the family.
Yeah, which is exciting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
April 11th is the day, so don't count on me for April.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. It's not debatable. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thanks, everybody.
Okay.